All right, so today we're going to be working on the 2011 Raptor, and we're actually going to attempt to put on the 2018 and 2017 Ford Raptor shocks. So this here is all the stuff I'm going to be using. If I do add any other tools, I probably will throw them in the description. This here, I got these off eBay. It said they had 50 miles on them. It comes with both fronts and both the rears. Got my, call it a T-handle to take off the lug nuts. I don't know if I have the right socket, so I'm just gonna use that. 2 jack stands, gloves, because I don't like to get that dirty. This here is a 27 mil socket, a 30 millimeter socket, and a 21. And then I got a 5-inch extension just because why not? I have a jack, it's a 3-ton. Spring compressor, I bought an impact because those bigger bolts are probably going to be a pain in the ass and I really don't want to get tired. And then I have this just to probably take the control arm off, stuff like that, because I'm lazy, so I'd rather use big tools. So the first thing I'm going to do is use the 3/4 inch. I'm going to break all these lugs, and then I'm going to jack the truck up and take the wheel off. The tire is off the ground, barely. I jacked it up on the jack point here, then I had to use blocks just to get that to touch the frame rail. I mean, that's more just for the just in case. This is what I'm worried about. It is solid. I put the truck resting on the jack stand, just, you know, for safety precaution if the jack does fail, since I kind of used a sketchy method for that. You know, I thought, why not put most of the weight on that and just kind of use this as the safety. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the wheel off, and then we'll start on the actual shot. Now that I got the wheel off, chilling over there. I did notice there's a 5 mil spacer on here. Whatever, I'm assuming it's to clear the brake caliper. I'm going to go ahead and undo this right here. I'm going to undo this one right here, as well as I think on the back side there's a big old nut. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo those. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo these. Let me put this on the good power setting. There you go. And then I'll go ahead and pound that bolt out. Give me one. 21. And get this bad boy out right here, as long as I can fit that. And I can't, so I'm gonna have to do that by hand. Got the nut off of there. I'm gonna go ahead and take my hammer and pound that out real quick, just to get the bolt out. Get out the tie rod here. I kind of forgot about it, so I need to take that out, and then we'll get back. So now the 21 millimeter tie rod bolt is out. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect everything here, and hopefully off the tie rod and the upper arm. I just took my sludge and just hit it from the bottom, and it popped right on out and fell over just like this. Now I'm gonna go ahead, see if I can get the shock out. That's probably gonna be a pain in the ass. I'm just gonna break it loose. I do need to go ahead and get those back there first, and then I'll go ahead and just remove the whole thing. So it looks like there is 3. They're 15 mils. I'm not gonna take off that center one, just the 3 over here. I'm gonna loosen the front. I'm gonna remove the back one, and then I'm gonna try and remove the front and then remove the shock. Okay, so all the bolts are out. As you can see, I push down, it does wiggle it. So I'm gonna probably step on this right here, or something down here, just to get it out. And then I'm gonna go ahead and try to actually pull the whole shock out. And then we'll get to the fun stuff, which is making the 2017 and 18 Raptor shock fit. I saw online on YouTube, the guy didn't actually do it, but he said you just have to take the spring and the top hat from this in order to get the other shock to work. So we're gonna try. Right now, I'm right here. I'm kind of stuck. I'm only 130 pounds, so pushing down on this here, trying to pry that out, it's pretty impossible for me. I mean, I got it that far. I'm trying to see if I can leverage it in any way to get it out, but I don't think this is gonna work for me. But if I do get it, I'll let you guys know what I did. I finally got it out. What I had to do was disconnect this, and it gave me way more than enough room. It came out like butter, to be honest. But I do need a new little rubber thing right there because this one's shot. So looks like new end link. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here, I put my 17 on here. I am going to go ahead and take off this top hat and relieve the spring from the shock. I already have this spring compressor on there just for my own peace of mind and safety. I heard it's not fun when those come screaming at you. There you go. Now, in theory, it should come off. I'm gonna go ahead and pry this and see if I can get it off pretty easily. So I took off the spring compressor nice and slow, and it popped everything off literally on its own. So I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna grab the new shock, well, new to me shock, and I'm gonna take off the spring on that and pray that our old spring and mounting hardware fits on that. Here we go. This is the new shock. Also a 17. Let's see here. There you go. Came right out. I already had the spring compressor on there. I didn't really compress it. I just kept it snug so it wouldn't fly out at me. So there is the old, well, this is the 2017 and 18 spring and the little grommet thing, I guess, that it comes with. Basically, you don't use any of the hardware on here. The only thing I saved was the bump stop, and I use the same nut that goes on here, just because it's newer. And yeah, but the whole thing was, you know, these don't line up, so you can't use the 17 and 18 Raptor suspension on that truck. However, the guy on YouTube that didn't have a DIY, he just said it is possible. Spent $600 buying these shocks, and I threw the other hardware and spring on. This is the old spring that came with the truck, and it mounted fine. This shock is longer. I already had problems trying to get the other one out. However, we're gonna see right now if it just pops right in. I'm praying it does, and you know, hopefully this works out. If it does, I mean, that's a huge step because these are expensive. The new ones, for whatever reason, you can find them pretty cheap, which is great for us. You know, it's good for the old Raptor guys as long as this works out. So let's find out. The top is in somewhat. It's going okay. My problem here is you have to rotate this. While I was rotating it, it popped out over here. So I'm trying to wiggle it back in, and then I'll rotate the bottom in and then pop everything together. So I did notice this is much longer. I don't know if you can see, than the control arm. So getting it in is gonna be a bitch, but we'll get it. So I got it. That was a complete nightmare. It's been over an hour. I've been thinking of ways to do this since I'm by myself. Basically what I did is I disconnected the bolt under here, disconnected the axle or CV, whatever you want to call it, from here, and it allowed it to lower like another 1.5 inches. Then what I did, I put the shock bolt through the shock without it being in the control arm yet, and I tied my little ratchet strap up here and to the other side over here, and I wrapped the strap around the bolt, and it compressed the shock about 1 inch. That's as much as I can get, you know, before it felt really sketchy. And I pushed this lower control arm down as far as I could, and I just started kicking the shock. And after like 3, you know, decent kicks, it just popped into place. I took off the ratchet strap. I still have the spring compressors on. Pulled the bolt out, which it came out pretty easy. I just unscrewed it a little bit and then all of a sudden it pulled out super easy. And I just started buttoning everything up. I put the bolt through here, I retightened this. Everything's loose right now, as you can see. I just wanted to, you know, get it through and make sure everything lines back up with the new shock. But man, does this look good. It's pretty compressed right now. I'll actually lower it, let's see. There you go. There you go, that's what I'm talking about. So that looks pretty darn good. The only thing I did notice is that there's not much travel right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare the other side to see how much travel there is, because this bump stop is pretty large. Let me compare to the other one right here. So if you kind of compare, you know, apples to apples, this one is probably over an inch shorter. So I'm just gonna get a razor blade. I'm gonna cut some of that one off to give myself more than 3 inches of travel, 2, maybe 1.5 inches of travel. You know, the spring is still compressed, so this is just this shock dangling. But I'm pretty happy. It went in. Everything just needs to be tightened, and I'll put the wheel back on, and we'll see how it looks. So it did get a little dark, and I did have to get a little creative, but it is in. Everything is good. All those are tight. Everything literally is great. The only thing I am gonna do, because this is how much travel it has, I mentioned it previously, I already cut part of the bump stop. I'm just gonna cut it out now. I'm taking off 2 levels. The OEM one it's like you could take 1 level off and it'll be the same as OEM, but I just want to take off more. We'll see how it rides. And then other than that, it's all put together. Everything is all good. I'm gonna put the wheel on and call it a day on this side. Installed. It got dark, so I'll finish the installation tomorrow on the other side. But this side is quite a bit higher than the other side of the truck. So right now I'm measuring the shock body right here, from where the spring sits to where it mounts. And this looks like it's about a foot, so 12.5 inches. We're gonna go over to the old shock right here. I'm gonna put this right here where the spring mounts, and this one is 1 foot. So it got about a 1/2 inch raise, plus these shocks are blown. And then, you know, just for shits and giggles, let's measure this here. From the same spot, this is 14.5 inches. And then on this guy here, let me extend this right about there. And this one, we are talking almost 19. Wow, and that's measuring from here, and then where the shock meets there. I'm gonna measure this gap here. And go from the center, about 28 inches from the hub to the fender. This side here is at 20, let's see here, 27, so it got about an inch lift. That's not bad. It just looks a little silly out here because the other side's higher, but we'll fix that tomorrow. Okay, so this is day 2 here. I went ahead and took off the back wheel. I put jack stands under the frame, and I lowered the pumpkin here so I can get the maximum extension of the shock travel, just to make it easier when I get the other one in. So here you undo this. This is a 15 mil. On the back, I'm just using one of a crescent wrench, I believe. I don't know the name of it. It's the same on the bottom, it's just reversed. So the 15 mils on the back, I'm using that. Take these out and the new shock will literally bolt right in. This one I could compress with my hands. I already got the other side done. I wanted to not have it go how the front shock went. It's kind of trial and error. This one, I did the first one and here's the second. So I'm gonna pop this out, pop the new one in and we should be good to go. Here's the difference in size here. This one, it's a little bit bigger, probably like 1.5 inches, 2 inches, but let's make that fit. So this side is done. I torqued them down. I'm just gonna lift the axle up by the pumpkin there and put the wheel on, and then the rear's done. This is like the easiest thing ever. It took me about 15 minutes. The hardest part was just compressing it. I mean, I'm 130 pounds, I can do it. I'm sure most of you guys that own these trucks can do it by hand. I put the top in first, and then I went ahead and compressed the shock from the bottom, pulling up, and threw it into the spot right there, and it went right in. I did use like a flathead screwdriver to get through the hole, just to make sure that it lined up correctly, because that was kind of hard. But once the shock goes into the mount, you know, it's just a little bit of finesse with the screwdriver just to get the bolt through, and then it's all good. So I just wanted to show you guys the finished result. That there, it's a new 3-inch with the regular spring from the Gen 1 Raptor. And then the rear here, this is the only part that's a little weird, but since the 2017 and 18, they come with the same rear shock, so one of them is going to be flipped. It happens to be the driver's side. You'll see here. What I mean by flipped is the only bad thing is the stickers won't show. So there's that. And then the other one up here. And it's all good, it's all done. So the one hardest part about it for me was just getting the new shocks in, just because they're so much longer. But other than that, it was pretty easy. The truck is raised about 1 inch, but my shocks were completely blown, so it could just be because my previous shocks were so bad. But the truck's 1 inch higher and it looks great, and it drives awesome, super awesome. Thanks for watching.